And we're joined now by senior hockey reporter Frank Seravalli. Today marks the season's first edition of the TSN Trade Bait Board. And let's start with Jesse Puljujarvi. He sits at number 3. He's back in Finland, where he scored 11 goals in 17 games. What is the latest on his NHL future, Frank?
Well, the clock is ticking, Sarah. He needs to be signed by December 1st in order to play in the NHL this season. And Ken Holland's phone is ringing, the Edmonton Oilers GM. Teams are seeing the numbers that he's put up. They have their scouts in Europe closely tracking Puljujarvi. And I think a lot of teams are interested to see if they can rehab the still 21-year-old number 4 overall pick from 2016. He's a guy that clearly had immense talent to get drafted there. The Oilers failed him in their development. And now the big test will be the Karhala Cup when he plays for Team Finland next weekend. Ken Holland will be there, is scheduled to be there to see Puljujarvi play and check on his progress, and then we'll see where things head from there.
All right, let's move over to a couple of Flames D-men who average north of 20 minutes per night. They find their names on the list.
That would be Travis Hamonic and TJ Brodie. Look, the Calgary Flames have some decisions to make, Sarah. They're off to a little bit of an up and down start at 6-6-3, and I think a lot of people are wondering, what does Brad Treliving do? Does he decide to shake things up? He's got 2 guys that are in the final years of their deal. There were rumblings about TJ Brodie potentially being on the move in the summer. Now Travis Hamonic, after discussions, seemingly have proved unfruitful so far to start this season with, in terms of a contract extension. Could he be the next guy to go? So I think the Calgary Flames and Brad Treliving certainly have some decisions to make here.
Okay, and 2 Maple Leafs also find themselves on the board. Toronto will be forced to make some roster moves when Zach Hyman is ready to return from injury. How likely are the Leafs to make a trade?
Well, I think that's another thing that they're pondering. Can we potentially sneak some of these guys through waivers with Zach Hyman coming back imminently? That certainly creates some discussion points. They're going to have to move 3 players from their roster, and seemingly number 1 would be Martin Marincin on the blue line. Then you've got some forwards that also need to probably go. I think the Maple Leafs would like to find a soft landing spot for Nick Petan, much in the same way that they did with Josh Levo a year ago. And beyond that, who are the other forwards potentially that could go? We're talking about Nick Shore, we're talking about Dimitrov Timoshev, and we're talking potentially about Jason Spezza. I think the Leafs' first priority would be to try and get all of those guys through waivers, but if they get a sense that that might not be possible, then certainly a trade would be in the works.
Lots to keep our eyes on, and for the full Trade Bait Board, check out tsn.ca. Thanks to our senior hockey reporter, Frank Seravalli, joining us from Philadelphia.